So I'd say that I've been on YouTube for a while. I'm not a veteran, but I've been on here a few years, and in those few years of YouTube, of being an agricultural influencer, there's one tractor that I've had this entire time that I've never really shown you guys. I think I had it in like a super early video once, but that video never really got many views. So I want to show you guys my special tractor. Here we are, the only non-John Deere tractor we got. Little Ford 1720. My grandpa gave this to me when I was in like junior high maybe. I don't remember how old I was exactly, to be honest. But it's always been a special little tractor to me. We use it for like blowing snow. We have a little tiller behind it, a little mower behind it. It does some organic stuff, you know, like weed care. But the one thing that I've always loved to do with it is I have a little 4-row planter. I've always loved to plant with this thing. And I was gonna make a whole video on it last year, but it was so dry last year I never had to get my planter out because there's nothing to replant. However, this year is a little bit different. So you know how like Millennial Farmer has the old Minneapolis Moline? This is my Minneapolis Moline. There we go, got her a little bit cleaned up. I didn't do a great job because, well, I did restore this thing like junior high, what was that, 10 years ago? 10, 11, 12, probably 10 years ago. I also used it for like 8 years. So it's kind of beat up. That wheel's actually pretty good. Like this one's pretty scratched up. It's pretty, I don't know, it's not great anymore. Someday when I get my own place after I graduate college, I'll maybe take this thing apart and redo it one more time. Like, for example, like this wheel isn't round. It's kind of an oval shape, but for what we do, it's actually worked beautifully. What's so cool about the 7000 John Deere planter, 7000, the 7100 was a 3-point version, is that it revolutionized planting to the way we know it today. I mean, if you go look at a brand new John Deere planter and basically every other brand, they are modeled off of this planter. This is where this basic shape of rail unit came in. If you look at an Exacta merge, it's same basic shape, I mean similar, not obviously there's been a ton of improvements, but same depth wheel design for the most part. Same basic closing wheel design, 2 rubber closing wheels. Obviously most of them have better adjustment here now. Same or similar depth adjustment system. It's crazy how similar this planter from like the early 70s is compared to every new planter out there. And like I said, someday I want to take this thing back apart and kind of re-go through it. And you know, as stupid as this sounds, I would love to make this thing like an electric drive. I just think that'd be the coolest thing ever. It'd be stupid, a 4-row electric drive planter, but it'd be the coolest 4-row planter probably in the world if it was electric drive and had variable rate and all that. So if there's anyone out there who wants to partner with me and make the coolest 4-row planter ever known to man, let me know. Until then, I'll keep my chains. Also, is there anyone out there that knows if this cylinder can be rebuilt? Because ever since I've had this planter, it's been leaking very badly. And it just kind of keeps getting a little bit worse, but not bad enough that I can't use it. But, you know, for pulling this thing out of a grove that it was sitting in for 30, 40 years, it looks pretty dang good now. Now, I actually am a fair bit fancier than most people for 4-row planter. I do have a monitor. These things are super cool. So this is a Computer Track 300 monitor. I don't know if it can scan 24 rows, it might only be 16. But yeah, this was a monitor that they had back when this planter was made. Actually, I think this monitor came afterwards. So the 100 was just a bunch of lights, and then if there's a row that stopped planting, a light would turn on, so there was no population count. I think the 200 was the same thing as this, except it only had one screen. This is a 300, it had 2 screens, so you can see like population, scan your rows, and see like your speed at the same time where your acre's done. And then after this, they also had like 350s and stuff. And I know it's actually kind of amazing. Like if you go on like Auction Time or machinerypete.com and you look at like 24-row CCS planters, there's still a fair amount of 24-row planters that use, usually not this one, usually it's a 350, which was just basically the same monitor, just it had one big screen instead of two individual little ones. But 2 years ago, so the last time I used this, I would plug my monitor in, it would work great for about an hour, and then it would just start reading populations all over the board. And there's a little bit of corrosion in this here electrical connector. So I'm gonna take my Scotch-Brite pad, cut it up really small, spray some electronics cleaner in there, and try and scrub it down with this. See if it fixes anything. Hey, look at that. Row. Oh, it can do 24 rows. That's kind of cool, actually. Problem. Nice. Okay. Row on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I gotta turn these rows off. So now I got, see this little thing that says row off? Right there. It's hard. It's upside down, actually. There we go. Row off. So row 5, flip it off, and now it says row off. And I have to do this all the way up to 24. Okay, so now I got my row spacing. I am running 30-inch rows, so digit select, 30-inch rows, number of rows, 4, and now I have a distance calibration. So, in order to figure out my speed and distance, I have a little radar down here. And the last time I did this calibration, so you're supposed to drive 400 feet and then flip another switch in the back, the one that says distance calibration, and then drive 400 feet and then it calibrates itself. But if you have the number, the calibration number, you can just keep typing in year after year. I think I wrote it down on my phone 2 years ago, so the chance of me actually finding this is very slim. I might need to actually calibrate this. Also, if you've ever wondered how these planters count the amount of seeds that fall, if you look in there, see that little red laser, or a couple of little red laser radar, I don't know what they use, but that's what counts a seed as it falls down that seed tube. Kinda neat. So, last night I could not find my calibration numbers for my monitor. So I was gonna measure out 400 feet and yada yada yada, do the calibration. And then it hit me this morning where it was, and I found it. So I'm gonna type that in once I grab my phone here. Okay, so my distance calibration is 5 2 6 5. There we go. Now it shows 0 miles per hour. Last night it was showing 25 without the tractor even being on. So I remember back when I was using this a lot more, the top speed in this tractor was about 12.5 miles per hour. So just to check my calibration, I'm gonna go see if top speed is 12.5 miles per hour. All right, loaded up, filled up, let's go. Borrowing my brother's rig today. So it is extremely windy today, and I kind of forgot my wind mic, so I'm gonna do my best to kind of block it. So sorry if the audio's bad, but I'm gonna try to make it as good as it possibly can. Got my seed holder. Here we have our first field of the day. I don't know what happened here and there, but the planter definitely has some issues along these end rows, large gaps. Going with the 4-row, clean them up. It is so windy out. second one I found this year. Now, a lot of people in our community actually have these old 7000 planters just for this reason, replanting all these little spots, because it just costs so much to take your big pieces of equipment, your 24-year-old planter, 16-year-old planter, and go out and fill in all these little wet spots. The difference between me and most other people in my community is that most other farmers have 6, 8, or 12-year-old planters, which is perfectly fine, but when you have that big of a planter, you can't do this. It's pretty dang nice being able to load it on a trailer and drive it across the county. So I like to take a lot of pride in my 4-row and the work I do with it. And one thing I always really strive for is I don't want you to be able to tell that it was planted with a 4-row planter. And you know, here, if it wasn't for the marks, I don't know if you'd be able to tell where the 4 rows, where each pass was. Right there was a little bit off. But overall, that's pretty good. This particular field actually isn't even ours. This is our neighbor's field. They knew they had this little spot and they asked me to come plant it for them, which I was more than happy to do. But they also had a lot bigger spot just over the hill. And I don't really know if they wanted me to plant that or not, but I did. So maybe I should probably text them before they come down here with a big planter expecting to plant that and it's already done. Well, it's getting a little bit later, but I got one spot left to plant I'm gonna bring you guys to. Well, here we go. This spot's a little bit different because, well, first of all, it's actually pretty big. Second of all, every other spot so far that we've planted has been a drowned out spot. This is a spot that was wet enough that we actually couldn't plant it to begin with. So I don't have anything to follow. I'm doing this 100% with my markers. So this will probably not be as pretty, but we're gonna give her a shot, and I honestly don't know if I have enough seed now I look at it. We'll see.
I can't let you go, baby. I just wanna tell you that. No, 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 no. Yeah. All of my friends say, girl, you better take care, 'cause that man is trouble, you best beware. And though deep down I know I might be headed for teardrops, now that you got me started, I just can't stop. No, no. 'Cause I love you, baby. I can't let you go, baby. I gotta tell you that I've been looking for love so true. When I was down and out, along came you. Though you might be a liar and a cheat too, I just can't quit you now 'cause I love you. Yes, I.
Well, I think that was the first time I ever finished planting my 4-row with the headlights turned on. It's kind of fun. I don't know how people used markers back in the day with headlights. That kind of sucked. But other than that, I finished this thing. In fact, I actually was able to use the rest of my seed. It didn't even have to open that last bag. Look at that. So thank you guys for coming with me for these past couple days of just replanting wet holes with my pride and joy, my 4-row 7000 planter, my Ford 1720 tractor that my grandpa gave me. Like, this truly is probably the most sentimental thing that I have, because my grandpa gave me the tractor when I was really young, and then like a year afterwards, my dad and I pulled this planter out of a grove and restored it, and it's one of those things that I'm going to have forever. But if there's somebody out there, and I know there's a few companies that do it, that want to retrofit this planter and make it super awesome and deck it out, hit me up. I'd love to do that. Or if you know somebody that works with somebody, tag them in the video, do whatever, because I think this thing would be awesome to deck out. Totally useless, don't get me wrong, but it'd be fun. So, I'm gonna end it here. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.